Hello and welcome back to Good Game Nation, where we bring you all things TCG. My name's Preston, and here we're doing the news today. We've got a few cards to talk about that were released, and one quick story on the official website. Um, we had a interesting week, so we're gonna jump right into stuff, and let me know what you think. Our first thing up here today is an update on the Japanese side website. Championship 2024 Wave 1 has an update, and it's really far down here, but they got an update on a promo pack that I think we're going to see very differently when it comes to us. This is a special EX Volume 1 promotion pack. It comes with 3 cards, and the cards that are in this set are they're all alt arts, and I believe they're alt arts that we've seen already here in the West, where we get some slightly different promos out of order and stuff like that. So the ones that are most noticeable first that made me think about this is the Edward Newgate, Jozu, and Marco, which are like top 8, top 16 and top 64, top 32, top 64 prizes, but with the fancier border. And when you look at it, I believe we've seen some of these other cards as well, with different art, or these are alt arts from different packs. Don't recognize the X-Drake, but a lot of them look like they're the Japanese side is now getting alt arts that we already have gotten. So when we get this EX Volume 1, it's going to be really interesting to see what they do with this pack, because I can't imagine them giving the alt arts that they were giving for high prizes as a prize that just is either like participation or even like a random topping participation pack. Doesn't make sense for them to do that. So it'll be really interesting when we get EX Volume 1 to see what they get. But this is going to be probably one of the big changes that we're going to see differently, because I can't imagine them giving the alt arts for top 32 to anything else. But yeah, that's the biggest thing that I saw here on the website. So the first thing we'll do is jump into the starter deck 14, the last card that they revealed before the card list, and then all of the OP-08 stuff. Okay, first up we have the last card of the last card of starter deck 14, which is this Luffy here. All the other cards have been revealed. The card list is now out, so you can see what's coming out in the starter deck on the official website. I'll link it down below. I'll link the card list down below so that you can get a good look at all of the cards that came out and start casting your judgments on whether or not you're looking forward to this starter deck. First up, Monkey D. Luffy, black character, 8 cost, 10,000 power. Straw Hat Pirates. If you have a cost 10 or greater character on your field, this character gains Rush. That's pretty cool. Gaining Rush is always going to be nice. Having it be a 10 cost makes me think I want to look at the Q&A and see if it includes himself. Because with the stage, you'll get a +1. With your leader, you get a +1. So you should be able to make this card 10. And if it includes himself, then he automatically gets rushed just because you're in the end game and it will happen. There's also a chance that you hit the board and you've already boosted something that is an 8 cost or whatever to 10 and it gains rush. So pretty nice. Pure rush is fun. I mean, at 8 cost, it being one of the only options in this deck, I don't know. It would have been nice for it to be something else. It could have been anything else, but I'm assuming we're gonna get a better Luffy. I would like to see like a Gear 3 or Gear 4 that would run into this archetype a little bit better, but they're pretty good. I mean, I can't complain about Rush. I love Rush, so there's not much to worry about there. It's just kind of a lackluster ending to a starter deck that I was already kind of like apprehensive about. But all of Starter Deck 14's out, so go check that out. Next up is a bunch of OP-08 cards, and let's jump right into them. First one up, 20 Doctors, red character, 2 cost, 2k power, Drum Kingdom, 1k counter, blocker. So this is a Drum Kingdom blocker. Every archetype ends up getting something like this. Sometimes it's a higher cost, sometimes it's a lower cost, just depending on where the archetype lands. But blockers are nice. And pause it here and count if there's actually 20 there, and then let me know in the comments. Moving on to our next card. Peckham's green character, 4 cost, 6k power, Minks, Big Mom Pirates. As long as this character is active, your cost 3 or less Minks type characters other than Peckham's cannot be KO'd by effects. That's pretty cool. It's a really interesting card because it says as long as this card is active, so you can't attack with it if you want to keep your stuff safe, which is interesting. He has like a turtle fruit, so it would have been interesting if it was rested. It basically takes up a field space to make sure that you can't be KO'd by effects, but we don't know what our 3 costs are, or if like the whole deck lives in 4 or less, and then there's a few like really big cards that you can play with it, then this card is really interesting. But it being a limited cost value makes me feel like it's not gonna see play, especially because you can't attack with it, and it has power. It has the power to stay and attack. So unless we see a bunch of restand stuff that we can use in this deck, there is some throughout green already, but if we don't have it usable in the Mink archetype, it's just not accessible, or just there's not space for what already exists, then this card probably doesn't see play, even though it has a really fun effect. And then it has no counter, so it just gives me like, it could be better. It's interesting. I would love to see this type of card get played, but I also don't see the Mink stuff so far getting played. Next up is Thatch. Thatch, blue character, 4 cost, 5k power, Whitebeard Pirates, 1k counter. If this character were to be KO'd or removed from play by your opponent's effect, you may instead place this character into the trash and then draw 1 card. That's pretty cool. I'm curious to see how the official translation comes through and see if it is only by your opponent's effects being removed. I guess you don't really want to do it off of your own effects, because the draw one isn't that big of a deal. Basically what I'm saying, you don't want to trigger it by trying to bounce it to your own hand. You want to keep those bounce cards for important cards instead. So I guess that side doesn't really matter. But being able to draw in an attack, so your opponent attacks into Thatch, he's gonna die. You choose to discard him with his effect to draw 1. That's a great plus in my mind. That's a huge ability to draw out an attack that is now done and dead, and you only gain value for it. And if your opponent doesn't target it, it's a 5k attacker that's going to keep swinging back at you. So they're going to want to give you that 1 card just so that they don't have to deal with the attacks. And as always, Thatch only exists in this one moment where he finds the devil fruit, and there's always a teach in the background, which this character only exists for this one moment, and I think it's funny that we just keep getting it from different camera angles, and this is all he's good for, is this one scene. I would love to see a Thatch that isn't revolving around the devil fruit and teach, but he exists for this one moment, and that's it. So we're gonna move on past our poor boy that's only there to die, and get to a Jinbei. Jinbei, black character, 5 cost, 6k power, fisherman, straw hat, pirates. Don ×1 when attacking. If you have a character with a cost of 8 or more, K up to one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 4 or less. Cool, so the starter deck 14 stuff is getting some sprinkles of support in this set. I kind of expected it and really hoped for it because, like I said earlier, not a fan of the starter deck at first, so it getting some more support, which makes it viable. Not saying that this is the card that makes it viable, but there being cards in this set that could actually help that leader see play will be super nice. So overall, again, the effects for this archetype are tough. 8 or more on a 5 cost is really awkward. I feel like just from what we've seen, it's going to be a uphill battle, but giving yourself on attack KO potential is nice. Although most stuff is more immediate, we want to get those effects on play, not on attack. So we'll have to keep waiting for that additional cost archetype to gain speed before we fully pass judgment. But right now it is falling way below the bar. Moving on to our next card. Charlotte Katakuri, purple character, 6 cost, 7k power, Big Mom Pirates, 1k counter. On play, if you have... Take that back. On play, you may turn one of your face-up life cards face down. Add up to 1 Dawn card from your Dawn deck and set it as active. Very cool. At a 6 cost, weird for ramp to be considered that. But also, it's a 6 cost ramping 7k attacker, which is great. And of course, it's a strong power. It's Katakuri. Turning a face down life, gaining a ramp. So your leader flips up and ramps. Your Katakuri flips the top card, leaving a middle card down, which still is not great because you can't activate your leader effect again if one of the 2 top cards is up. But maybe you take a life and it's just the top card, and that would give you your leader ability left. Interesting. I like it. Ramp is really weird because generally hitting 1 or 2 ramp sets you for the game because it either gets you super far ahead because you already were 1 Dawn ahead, or it catches you up if you started on the 1 Dawn turn. So 1 or 2 has been good, and your leader will already do that. So you're going to get to this card a little bit faster and then be able to play this card and get it a little faster. So it's starting to line up into a good archetype for this purple to get to your big cost cards. I'm waiting to see if purple gets a Big Mom that is going to be, again, really nasty, or are we just playing to the yellow Big Moms? Which we can because the leader is yellow. So we might not have to get a Big Boss Mom out of this set to have a really formidable purple-yellow deck. Which is scary. Scary to think that you're going to be ramping really fast into 10 cost moms. This deck could be terrifying if it just gets enough. Honestly, just playing a lot of the yellow stuff and a few ramp cards is going to be disgusting. So something to look out for when this set comes out. Speaking of Big Mom, we got our next card here. It's To Die For, heart emoji. Purple event, 3 cost, the 4 Emperors, Big Mom Pirates. Main, add up to 1 Dawn card from your Dawn deck, set it as active. Then if your opponent has a character with 6,000 power or more in play, add up to 1 Dawn card from your Dawn deck and set it as active. Trigger, add up to 1 Dawn card from your Dawn deck and set it as active. Whew. So there's a potential of 2 Dawn cards right there on turn 2. But you have to have your opponent fulfill one of those conditions. Which 1 Dawn for 3 cost isn't that bad already. That's pretty nice, and the off chance that you get a second Dawn is fantastic. This would replace, I think it's a starter deck Dawn card from Animal Pirates, and we're gonna not talk about the art. It's cake. So, moving on now. Wanda, green character, 1 cost, 2k power, Minks, 1k counter. On play, look at the 5 cards from the top of your deck. Reveal up to 1 Minks type card other than Wanda and add it to your hand. Then place the rest at the bottom of your deck in any order. This is a searcher. This is Nami. This is any of your on-play searchers that you have. And the set gets it immediately, which is great. Some sets like ISO came later, and it's nice that we're getting it early instead of later, especially with my apprehension that this deck is going to be bad. So seeing this now is great. Usually there's also an event that does the same thing. Often doesn't get played unless like it's super critical, but we got the character version first, which is incredible. Going to be super helpful for this deck to have this early on, and we already know what these cards do, so we're not going to spend a lot of time on it. We'll jump right into the last card we have for us today. Electrical Luna, green event, 3 cost, Minks. Main, all of your opponent's rested characters with a cost of 7 or less do not become active during your opponent's next refresh phase. Trigger, rest up to 1 of your opponent's characters. That's pretty crazy. The 10 cost Dofi only does like 3 cards. This is all 7 or less. That can be huge, and it's only a 3 cost. That's crazy. In game, if they have stuff and you're not just able to get over everything or anything, you just leave 3 Dawn for the end of your turn, make it so that they can't attack with any of their characters that they have on board this turn. That's crazy. And then it gives you another chance to run over those cards, even if they have a few cards and you just don't want them to attack with, or you want to, if you don't think they will attack with them again, you can leave them rested so you get another chance to run into them. This is a crazy card at 3 costs, and this is just crazy for me. Minks need a lot of stuff like this. They need to be able to control your board state, and starting here at a 3 cost rare, that's pretty crazy to me. I think this opens up a ton of potential for this deck, and I can't wait to see what else Minks comes out with, just to see if this is usable. The thing about it really comes down to, this doesn't say if you have a Mink leader. This doesn't say anything about Carrot. This is now a card that is available to every green deck, and that's kind of scary as well. You have to think that this is going to affect other green decks, and stuff that might not have been viable because it just couldn't get around characters now has a way to lock characters. You can lock characters for cheaper. You don't have to pay 10 Dawn for your Dofi if you can get most of your opponent's cards or more with this, leaving 7 Dawn to do whatever you want with. That's going to be critical for all green decks. So look forward to figuring out how to play around this card in the future. Yeah, that's all the cards we're covering today. There's some really great cards, and there's some really cards mediocre and everything. So I want to know what you think in the comments down below. Let me know what you thought about everything so far from this set, and especially the cards we talked about today. What are you looking forward to most? And if you like this video, hit that thumbs up. If you want to get more One Piece TCG content, hit that subscribe. And until next time, peace.